Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are on episode 5 of the Proverbial Talk, Wake Up Wise. I've actually didn't pre-record anything, so I realized that it's this Sunday that I need to upload this episode. So basically, I got caught up with orders for my business and so many other things with my book and other things that are going on in my life. And then I realized that I'm on schedule to post, and then the editing's gonna take a while. So it's Friday today, right? Friday. So I've got 2 days to edit and upload. So let's crack on. Today's proverb is: "It is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings to search out a matter." So this is a bit of a random one. You're not gonna know what it's about until you think about it a bit more. So it is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings to search out a matter. So God, you know how they say God works in mysterious ways, right? But we can work in mysterious ways for other people, but not for God. So we have to make it clear this kind of coincides with manifestation as well. When you have a clear image in your mind of what you want in life, God helps you with that. So you need to basically think about things clearly in your head. You can't expect, imagine your fleeting thoughts to become reality. You have to be a bit more specific, right? God can be vague and give you little crumbs and little clues, but you can't. So that's why that's an honorable thing, to search out a matter. In order to refine body and spirit, you must search out wise words and listen to your wise counsel, for God conceals knowledge and life lessons within our neighbors. So, coming back to the knowledge, there's hidden knowledge everywhere, right? There's somebody could not be aware, right? Unintentionally do it, give you a sentence, and in the middle of that sentence, they say a keyword. That keyword makes no sense to them. They didn't intentionally put it there for you themselves, but God did. So what happens is you need to decipher what is the message that is meant through that keyword, through that sentence, through a visual means, to find out where your next steps are. And that is essentially, they call it esoteric or hidden knowledge. That's how you access it from everything around you, right? However, you must stay away from lies of fools who seek to cut kings from their thrones. So, in saying that you must seek out wisdom from other people, you must also decipher or discern. Discernment is quite a common word we use. Is to, when somebody is talking rubbish to you, when someone is asking you questions that don't have nothing to do with the situation, that are intruding on your privacy, take a pause before somebody asks you, or before you answer the question that they're asking you. Take a pause, think about what they're trying to do with that question, and answer it. Especially if you're fighting that person, if that person is your enemy, or you don't know yet, you don't know if to trust them or not. Answer it as vaguely as possible, to confuse them, basically. So you confuse them because they're trying to seek out information. They're looking for a hook. This is where this says cut kings from the throne. So when you already have a throne, this is a metaphorical throne. Like, you already have a house, you have a business, you have a life, you have a successful endeavor in your life, and that person's asking you, "Oh, what do you do for work? What's your job?" Sometimes that's innocent, sometimes it's not. So, it's a common thing to ask, like engage in small talk and ask, "Oh, what's your job? I do this, I do that." that's fine for people that you trust, for innocent souls, for your friends, for people you meet at the street, you know, strangers or whatever. But there are people, right, who are, at least you've seen a glimpse that they are working against you, that they're saying negative things about you, they're twisting things. They're a bit too curious for your liking. They're going to ask you those questions. You have to know how to kind of satisfy their curiosity, but also not give them the full answer. So you can say, oh, yeah, I just like, I'm in between jobs. You know, say something, even though you're like, you've got millions in the bank. They shouldn't know that, right? Because they're going to judge you based on what you're saying, how you present yourself. If you present yourself simple, like a lot of people who are rich, a lot of people who have money, not all of them, some of them of course splurge on the outfits and on the way that they live. Some do dress simply. They don't wear name brands. They wear clothing that is quality, but it hasn't got any logos on it. The reason being is because that logo or that brand is essentially a magnet for people who want to take you down, for those liars or lies of fools that tend to try to take you down. And it might not be like directly you're trying to steal from you or something like that, but it could be in the means of slander. So they can say bad things about you, and then people are starting to look at you differently. Like, oh, how did they get the money? Oh, why is that expensive car they're driving? I wonder what if they're doing something illegal and all this. And then they start talking, and then essentially you're put under pressure to prove yourself, to explain yourself when you're not doing anything wrong. So I very, very highly suggest you don't tell them anything, and you try to conceal what's precious in your life. Yeah, just don't let them know. Establish who are those who take you on the journey of truth, and seal lips in front of those who on the surface mean well but have poison in their hearts. So on the surface mean well. That could be metaphorical. So some people mean well and they have innocence in their hearts. So this is, scratch that. They're actually good people. But what happens is their innocence, right, could be like being naive, could be dangerous for you, because although you could have told them the truth, what you do for work, for example, how much money you make, or I don't know, like what's your next business venture, you tell them, then they tell somebody else, and now that other person has poison in their heart, so something something against you. They already don't like you, so that's why they're asking third people. There is also a term for it when you refer to narcissism. They're called flying monkeys. So they will come, they have something to do, like I had someone fixing something in my house, and then they started asking me questions that have nothing to do with what they're doing in my house, fixing something. And they're asking me, oh, is this true? Oh, is this? What is this? And then I'm just like, yeah, I gotta leave. So I had to change the subject to make sure they're not invading my privacy. They're not asking questions that I know, because I can tell from the question that they're going, that somebody sent them with this question. That's how bad it is. The people that come to do regular things in your home will come and ask you questions that your enemy sent them. Your enemy, which is could be your ex. I don't know who your enemy is exactly. I have quite a few. So I have people that aren't just like personal, like ex's family. They're like a bit more elaborate. It could be lawyers, it could be people like professional people, right? So I have to be really, really careful who I'm around, what I do, what I say. Yeah, just watch what I do, so that nobody, this is the only means, essentially, the podcast and my book, where I can be fully honest. But then again, this honesty in my book, I have to protect myself and switch up the names, because in my book I've named judges, I've named a lot of people that were doing wrong things, but I can't, unless I'm going to sue them, which I'm not doing, I can't give out the real name, because then they will be able to sue me. So I have to watch myself again. But I can say what they've done, just can name them something else, or not name them at all. And you can make your own conclusions about what's in my book and what's not. Because I've exposed actually quite a few people, like more than 10 people. No, actually more than 20 people. But it's just like when I think about from my first book now and my second one. So I'm exposing them constantly. So if you follow my like my social media, if you know my story, you're gonna be able to connect the dots and know who I'm talking about. My last paragraph, my last little sentence is: the reason why God conceals things is to protect you from destruction. Also, there is a great test that all obedient children must pass in order to prove their righteousness. So again, conceal things. So this is also to do with, like, I'm a person that talks a lot when I'm comfortable. So I'm happy because I'm quite trusting. I'll be willing to share things. So God will not reveal where you're going in the future for now. And that is quite unnerving. And a lot of people tend to abandon their ideas, their plans, and their dreams because there's no results showing. You don't know where you're going. You don't know. You keep asking God, where are we going? Where's the next step? Do I need to invest here? Do I need to buy this? Do I need to sell this? Like, what am I doing? God's not going to say nothing. Why? Because he's trying to protect you from yourself, essentially. So you can't stop. You can't you have to have faith, like blind faith. That's why it's called blind faith, because you can't keep asking. You have to just keep making the moves and sort of hope that it's the right one. It might be, might not be. But being really, really careful about what you say to people is the motto and the moral of today. I've had like numerous instances where I had to think about, and I had to also think about, really carefully think about retaliation. So when something bad was said about me, like, okay, I was slandered, there was some false accusations. Even recently, I was forced to make a complaint about this specific place, this group of people that work in this place, in this center, because what they do essentially is they use their job as a mean to control people, emotionally manipulate them, emotionally abuse them. People that have already got a lot of problems, that don't deserve this sort of treatment. They probably would need a lot more patience and a lot more, just, I don't know, just being a good person around it, emotional intelligence, all that stuff. But these people, they don't care about that. They're seeking. They think of themselves as investigators, but they're just hateful people. I don't know how else to describe them. And so I was able to collect over a few months, quite a bit of evidence in regards to what they're doing wrong, where they're going wrong. I'm not in charge of like telling them how they can improve. I'm just there to make a complaint as a user of their service, right? So I had to think about what I need to say in that complaint, and if I even want to go through with it. But I did eventually go through with it because I found that it's going to be beneficial for my case. And yeah, I was quite disappointed actually that those things happen. But yeah, be careful what you say to people. Yeah, don't go yapping like I'm yapping today, and say everything, because it can come back to you. At the same time, don't stay silent. So there's a little bit of a middle ground, and be careful and always stay cool-headed and like emotionless and quite logical about what you want to say. So I'll see you in the next episode. Hopefully should be in the next 2 weeks if I don't forget again. See you.